Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're inviting you on a pretty profound journey. We're going into the mind of Fyodor Dostoevsky. You know, they often called him a surgeon of the soul.
That's a great way to put it. He really did carve open human nature in his stories.
Exactly. So we're looking at his wisdom, trying to understand, well, what does it mean to be human? And why do his ideas still hit so hard today? We've pulled together some really rich sources. We're drawing quite a bit from all of Dostoevsky's Wisdom Explained, The Wisdom of a Genius. That's from the Philonautica YouTube channel. Our mission, really, is to look into that mirror Dostoevsky held up. And it's not just showing the masks, right? It's the raw stuff underneath.
The uncomfortable truths, yeah.
Yeah. So get ready for hopefully some deep reflection, maybe a few aha moments along the way.
Well, what's fascinating, I think, is how Dostoevsky doesn't just want you to read. He wants you to wrestle with these huge truths: freedom, guilt, faith, despair.
Right.
He deliberately avoided easy answers. It's more like he plunges you right into the chaos of life, where every single choice, it carries weight. Sin and grace, reason and madness, all mixed up. He asked us to really engage.
Okay, so let's dive in then. At the absolute core of his work, right, was this belief: man is a mystery. It needs to be unraveled. For him, just existing, just surviving, that wasn't the point. The real question, the one that burned for him, was why do we live? He noticed something really profound. He said that even if we had everything, all our material needs met, people would still destroy themselves rather than remain on Earth without meaning or faith.
Wow.
This deep, deep hunger for purpose, for something more. It's just key to understanding him.
And that idea, it immediately throws us into contradiction, doesn't it? Human contradiction.
Yeah.
Think about that doctor character in the Brothers Karamazov, big, sprawling novel. He says he loves humanity so much he'd gladly be crucified for it. But then, almost in the next breath, he admits he cannot endure the company of any individual for more than 2 days. Right. He even says, the more I love mankind in general, the less I love man in particular. It's this paradox, right? This huge, noble idea clashing with the messy, frustrating reality of actual people. And that tension, well, it still defines so much of our lives, doesn't it?
Yeah.
We long for these grand ideals, but we stumble over the small stuff. We want freedom, but then we kind of fear its weight.
And speaking of those internal battles, another big one for Dostoevsky was self-deception, the danger of it.
Oh, huge.
He saw that, and this is striking, lying to ourselves is more deeply ingrained than lying to others. It's almost like our default setting. Remember Elder Zosima, the wise monk in the Brothers Karamazov? He gives this really powerful warning. He says, above all, do not lie. The man who lies to himself loses all respect for himself and others, and having no respect for love. Think about that chain reaction.
It's chilling, really. And Dostoevsky shows it's not just, a minor moral slip-up. It's a slow corrosion of the soul. Yeah. When you lie to yourself, truth gets blurry. Respect for yourself, for others, it just evaporates. And then love dies. You see it with Raskolnikov, right? The student in Crime and Punishment. So smart, thinks he's above it all, convinces himself murder is okay for him.
Right, the extraordinary man theory.
Exactly. And his whole self-deception just crumbles under the weight of guilt. Or Ivan Karamazov wrestling with these intellectual justifications that are driving him mad. And in our world today, with social media, echo chambers, these carefully crafted online selves.
Oh, definitely.
Dostoevsky's warning feels, incredibly relevant. Being honest with yourself is the bedrock. It's the foundation for any real connection with anyone else.
That idea, honesty with yourself, it links right into how Dostoevsky saw wisdom. Like Socrates, he insisted that real wisdom starts with knowing you know nothing. Yeah, humility. That feeling that we've got it all figured out, intellectual arrogance. He thought that just blind. He said something like, nothing in this world is harder than speaking the truth. Nothing easier than flesh. Truth takes humility. He even wrote, the cleverest of all is the man who calls himself a fool at least once a month, which I love.
It's such a critical point, especially now, right? We're drowning in information. But wisdom, that seems scarce.
Good point.
Acknowledging what you don't know is, weirdly, the first step to actually understanding anything. People who cling too tightly to being certain, they often end up, as Dostoevsky saw it, imprisoned in their own rigid logic.
Trapped.
Exactly. Knowing facts isn't the same as grasping truth. For him, wisdom needs that constant humility, always being open to learning more, maybe being wrong.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit to freedom. Dostoevsky went deep here too, but maybe not in the way we usually think about it, all positive and heroic.
No, not at all. It's complex.
He gives us this really chilling idea in the Brothers Karamazov, in that famous section, The Grand Inquisitor.
The parable.
Where this powerful church leader basically tells Christ, look, in the end, people will lay their freedom at our feet. They'll say, make us your slaves, just feed us. He paints this picture of humanity as just too weak for real freedom, preferring, servitude over liberty if someone just promises bread, order, certainty.
It crystallizes a really uncomfortable truth, doesn't it? That freedom is not only a gift, but a heavy burden.
Yeah.
Dostoevsky suggests that for millions, maybe most people, the torment of moral responsibility that freedom demands is just too much. They'd gladly trade it.
For security.
For security, comfort, and ease. We see echoes of that today, right? Fear pushing people towards ideologies that offer simple certainty, trading independence for feeling safe. No wonder weeping becomes man, as he put it. It's a heavy thing.
But he wasn't endorsing the Inquisitor, was he?
No, absolutely not. That's crucial. Christ's response in the story, that silent, loving kiss, it stands as this quiet, powerful reminder. True freedom for Dostoevsky is inseparable from love, chosen out of love, not fear.
Okay, and sticking with the Grand Inquisitor for a moment, there's another really unsettling line in there. Without a clear perception of his reasons for living, man will not consent to live and will sooner destroy himself than tarry on earth.
The meaning crisis.
Exactly. For Dostoevsky, the biggest trial wasn't hunger or poverty, it was what he called the silence of God, that lack of a clear answer. Why suffer? Why live? Ivan Karamazov embodies, right? He protests so bitterly against meaningless, especially the suffering of innocent.
And that is the shape, the very core of an existential crisis. Dostoevsky doesn't give us neat answers. He never does.
No.
He forces us to dwell on the tension of that silence. If God is silent, if the universe doesn't give easy answers, well, then the weight of meaning falls on us, on our responsibility for each other. But he doesn't leave us hanging in despair. Think about Elder Zosima again. His words are like a counterweight to Ivan's anguish. Zosima says, "Brothers, do not fear man's sins. Love man in his sin too, for such love resembles God's love." He suggests that loving people, even in their flaws, is how we touch God's own way of loving the world. It's a powerful response to that silence.
And Dostoevsky himself, he knew suffering, personal, deep. At 28, he faced a firing squad, stood there blindfold, spared at the very last second.
Imagine that.
That experience gave him, as you'd expect, this reverence for life that never left him. Then years in a Siberian prison camp, brutal labor, plus epilepsy, tuberculosis, but it didn't harden him, did it?
Quite the opposite, it seems. It opened his eyes to the fragile dignity in every human being. He realized life is everywhere, life in ourselves, not in what is outside us.
So suffering wasn't just endured, it was transformative.
Yes, it became a crucible for him. He discovered that suffering, far from being pointless, could be the gateway to compassion, faith, and understanding life's true worth. In Siberia, surrounded by convicts, the lowest of the low, he saw diamonds in the filth, real human value.
And that flows into the novels.
Absolutely. Think of Sonia in Crime and Punishment, the prostitute. She becomes Raskolnikov's path to redemption, precisely because her own suffering made her compassionate self. Dostoevsky seemed to find a moral law in it. Compassion born from pain is the highest human calling. His worst experiences became the soil where love took root. It reminds you of Viktor Frankl, decades later in a Nazi camp, finding that same spiritual freedom that cannot be taken away.
Yeah.
Suffering couldn't crush the core of the human spirit.
So let's talk about that spirit, that indomitable flame of free will. Dostoevsky wrote, "Nothing pleases man so much as free will." But then the paradox.
There's nothing that makes him suffer.
Classic. Even in chains in Siberia, he figured out that while the body may be chained, the soul remains its own master. Real freedom was internal.
Choosing one's inner path. Exactly. He believed deeply that spiritual freedom cannot be crushed. You see it in Notes from Underground, that narrator, so bitter and alienated.
The underground man, yeah.
He insists it's better to choose suffering than to live as a predictable machine. He'd wreck a perfect life just to prove he's free, to assert his will.
It's just to say, I choose.
Yes. It highlights free will, not as some luxury, but as the essence of human dignity. And conscience, for Dostoevsky, that was the ultimate judge. Beyond law, beyond politics, beyond science, we still see that spirit, don't we? In dissidents, survivors. Their bodies might be confined, but their inner choice, their will, stays sovereign.
Without it,
we're just mechanisms, organ pipes, hollow and soulless, as he put it.
Which brings us maybe to that war within. The gap between who we pretend to be and who we really are. The underground man, again, he just lays it bare. See, I'm a sick man. I am a spiteful man. I am only injuring myself and no one else.
He clings to his misery.
Yeah. Prefers that illusion of control that comes from saying no to everything. It sounds a lot like what modern psychology calls self-sabotage or resistance.
It really does. And that character, he also embodies the curse of excessive consciousness.
What did Dostoevsky mean by that?
He actually called consciousness itself a disease when it leads to analysis paralysis. The underground man thinks everything to death, dissects every motive, calculates every outcome.
And gets stuck.
Completely stuck, frozen. Dostoevsky's insight is that the intellect, left unchecked, can tyrannize the soul. We saw it with Raskolnikov, too. His brilliant mind convinced him he was above morality. Then guilt crushed him. It's a warning, isn't it? Brilliance without humility is fragile, arrogance blind.
And when that intellect goes too far, when we ignore that inner compass, Dostoevsky says, conscience is a harsher judge than any court. In Crime and Punishment, Raskolnikov's body literally rebels after the murder. Fever, delirium, crushing guilt follow him like shadows.
It's visceral.
He shows how the crime doesn't just stay with the perpetrator, It radiates outward, scars the victim's family, his own friends, and most deeply his own soul. Guilt isn't just a feeling, force.
And then Sonia steps in again. She becomes his living through her faith, her humility, her incredible compassion. She holds up this moral mirror he just can't ignore. Dostoevsky suggests that by betraying others, Raskolnikov betrayed himself, his own capacity for love, for empathy.
So the real punishment isn't prison.
Not primarily. It's the degradation of the soul. Losing peace of mind, yes, but more than that, losing the ability to fully be human. And this is classic Dostoevsky redemption is still possible. That idea of the Felix culpa, the fortunate fall, through the sin, through the pain, there's a chance for profound change.
And love is often the catalyst for that change. But Dostoevsky's version of love, it's not simple.
Oh, never simple. Not the sweet bliss poet's promise. It's a double-edged force, a battlefield, exaltation mixed with jealousy, torment.
He even observed, disturbingly, that man is sometimes extraordinarily passionately in love with suffering.
Right. It's complex. But in Crime and Punishment, after all Raskolnikov's agony, it is Sonia's steady, unwavering compassion that starts to turn him around. Dostoevsky writes, "The heart of each held infinite sources of life for the heart of the other." Beautiful line.
So love doesn't erase the suffering.
No, it transforms it, gives it meaning. Ivan Karamazov asks, what is hell? His answer, it is the suffering of being unable to love.
Wow.
So if hell is lovelessness, then redemption is finding your way back to love. But it's not sentimental.
No.
Father Zosima warns, love in action is a harsh and dreadful thing compared with love in dream. It demands sacrifice, endurance, courage. Dostoevsky's conviction seems to be suffering, when embraced with love, is never meaningless. It becomes a path forward.
Okay, let's talk about another key figure, Prince Myshkin. He's presented as this incredibly honest, compassionate, pure-hearted man.
Whom society just mocks as a fool.
Yeah.
An idiot.
Right. Dostoevsky says, the world calls them idiots, but not 1 in 1,000 has the innocence to deserve that. Myshkin's innocence, his empathy, it just seems absurd to the cynical aristocrats around. He makes mistakes, sure, but he forgives betrayals. He operates from empathy, not ego.
And Dostoevsky seems to be suggesting that genuine virtue is so rare the world does not know what to do with it. It doesn't fit.
He becomes like a whistleblower of the soul.
That's a good way to put it. He lives by his truth, even when it makes everyone else uncomfortable. Remember Aglaya's comment to him, I have a heart and no brains, you have brains and no heart. It cuts right to the novel's core critique of that society.
So his foolishness is actually strength.
Exactly. His illness makes him fragile, yes, but it also seems to give him this deeper insight into people. Our world often tramples what seems soft, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Fails to see that gentleness, real empathy, can be the purest form of strength.
And it's Myshkin who says that famous line, the world will be saved by beauty. What did Dostoevsky mean by that kind of beauty? It wasn't just aesthetics, right?
No, definitely not superficial looks. He meant beauty as truth, love, and good, like the radiance of meaning shining through brokenness.
So beauty isn't an aesthetic.
It's an illumination. It redeems life because it reminds us that even beyond despair, love is possible. Every act of compassion, forgive, honest, now that's a spark.
It sounds like an antidote to nihilism.
Precisely. Where meaninglessness breeds despair, this kind of beauty awakens meaning. It's active. It's service, forgiveness, solidarity, standing with others in their pain. Think of Sonia again, her quiet sacrifice, her love. That's a beauty that ultimately helped save Raskolnikov.
But Dostoevsky also saw beauty as dangerous.
Mysterious and dangerous, yes.
Yeah.
He said God and the devil are fighting there, and the battlefield is the heart of a man. Beauty can be part of that battle. But if you embrace it with humility, with love, he believed it's the one force strong enough to redeem despair.
Okay, wow. Let's try and pull this all together. Dostoevsky's wisdom, right? It was forged in fire. His own life proves that. And it challenges us to face the contradictions inside us, the danger of lying to ourselves, the real weight of freedom, and the power of suffering and love to change us. He keeps reminding us, true wisdom starts with humility, knowing you don't know it all. And that even if you feel trapped externally, your free will, that inner choice, is this flame that can't be put out.
And maybe the most powerful thing is how he shows love. Even though it's a crucible, a tough process, it can refine us. And that idea that beauty will save the world, it's not about pretty things.
Right.
It's about truth, love, goodness radiating out, even from our hardest struggle. His words still speak so clearly to our time, don't they? All the crisis and distraction. He's urging us, be honest about your soul. Let suffering refine you. Don't just endure it. And never lose sight of that beauty. Because, as he wrote, loving humility is marvelously strong, the strongest of all things.
So the question for you, listening right now, is what does this mean for you? Dostoevsky leaves us with this quiet challenge. Are we wasting our many minutes? Are we really embracing the discomfort that comes with real freedom, making real choice? Or are we maybe clinging to those invisible prisons, comfort, certain ease?
The easy path.
Yeah. And his final provocative thought, it's woven through everything. To truly live, to be fully human, we have to choose, even when that choice means suffering. The price of freedom is pain, he suggests, but only through this struggle do we prove alive. So what choice will you make today as you navigate your own life, your own complex, something to reflect on?